Well, hello. Hi. All right. I am here to do a quick video to follow up on our three-part series, kind of our three-part series. You'll recall that I interviewed Olivia St. Clair Long, an attorney in Chicago, and she told us about three traits that she looks for in her paralegals and her attorneys. Well, in this video, I want to talk about one of those in particular and take a deeper dive because we couldn't really get into it when we were on that interview. It was 20 or 30 minutes, and so we only had a few minutes for each topic. I want to talk about attention to detail. That was one of the three traits or skills that she talked about. The reason why I want to talk about attention to detail is because after doing a lot of research on it, I actually developed a 60-minute course on mastering your attention to detail. One of the things that I learned was that attention to detail isn't something that you're necessarily born with. It's a skill. It is a skill that we can all develop by doing certain things, both throughout the day, the week, and the month. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you today about, I'm not going to do the whole 60-minute course, of course, but one of the things I want to talk about that I talk about in that course is how a key element to increasing your attention to detail is to look at time management and attention management, two different things. And both of those are important when we're talking about attention to detail. Think of it like this. One of the things that I say is when you are focused on an upcoming deadline and it is something urgent, when you are rushed, you are focused more on meeting the deadline than doing it right. Not that you don't want to do it right. I'm not saying that at all, but it's impossible to focus on doing it right when you're focused completely on, oh my gosh, am I going to meet this deadline? Let's say you're doing an e-filing and it is due by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. And it is 11:54. You have 5 minutes. When you have 5 minutes to get that e-filing done, you're not focused on, are all the exhibits attached the way they should be? Have I looked at each of those to see, are there any missing pages in those exhibits? Is the case caption correct? Is the case number correct in the case caption? Did I change out the attorney's bar number? Are all the pronouns correct? Did I have time to site check everything? You don't have time to do that because you're focused on 5 minutes. I've got 5 minutes before this thing has to be e-filed or it's late and I'm in trouble. So when you think about that, if you are coming up on a deadline, how can you focus both on time management and attention management? Two different things. Time management is how you allocate your time. That's pretty simple. I've done episodes on it. I've got a video on it. I think it's 3 tips for managing your time better, something like that. So there's time management. But attention management is what you choose to focus your energy on. In other words, what are you focused on? The task at hand. And so look at those two things when you're thinking about how can I improve my attention to detail is how am I managing my time, all of that time leading up to the deadline, because there's only so many hours in a day. There's so many minutes before that thing has to be filed or served or whatever the deadline happens to be. And so go back and say, how can I manage my time better throughout that day or the previous days, right? But also, how can I manage my attention? Are people coming by? Am I letting them come by and interrupt me? Maybe you don't think about it in the morning. Let's go back to that 11:59 deadline. You don't think about it in the morning because it's not 5 minutes before the deadline. But all of those little distractions throughout the day, those 10-minute discussions with someone who stops by and wants to talk about the weekend, those 15-minute doom scrolls where you thought you were just going to be checking Facebook or TikTok for a minute becomes a 15-minute doom scroll. all kinds of things that we can be doing throughout the day. What are we focusing our attention on, and how are we managing that time? That's one of many ways, one of many things that I discuss in the Master Your Attention to Detail. Before I let you go, I want to talk about something I've got coming up. It is going to be a free webinar workshop, not really based on attention to detail. This actually comes out of a free webinar that I'm developing called the Paralegal Playbook, 10 Career Boosting Principles. The reason I'm going to be doing it, and I'm doing it on November 20th, I'll put a link down below where you can register for it and sign up. The reason I'm doing it is with my subscribers, I had started doing this daily email, and I started getting some complaints from some people who said, they don't like to get daily emails. And so I'd already developed this series of 15 or 20 principles. And I narrowed it down to the top 10 and decided I'm going to do it in a live webinar. So that way I have time to interact with you, answer some of your questions. So I'm going to do that on November 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I've got an easy URL for you to remember, paralegalplaybook.com. It'll send you to the page where you can sign up and get more information on it. Essentially, I'm going to be covering 10 career boosting principles. The reason why I'm picking 10, I actually had closer to 20, but then I started thinking, all right, well, if I have an introduction and some Q&A time, that's only going to leave me like barely 2 minutes per principle. And I want to be able to take a deeper dive into each of the principles. So I'm going to be doing the top 10 of the 20 that I came up with. Now, keep in mind, so I have done lots of videos before about the 7 habits of the indispensable paralegal. I've done top 3 skills, top 10 skills. Principles are different. Principles are going to be completely different. If you think about it, principles are those guiding beliefs, things that guide you, and this is going to be that guide you professionally to have the career of your dreams. So we're not doing habits, we're not doing skills, we're doing principles. So join me on November 20th. Hope to see you there. And remember, attention to detail is going to involve how you manage your time and what you focus your attention on. Have a great day.